Hey everyone, I'm Jen and I own a veterinary technician relief business.
And I'm Michelle. I own a veterinary technician mobile house call business.
And you are
And you are
listening
listening
to
to
Endless
Endless
Journeys,
Journeys,
the Vet
the
Tech
Vet Tech
Odyssey
Odyssey podcast.
podcast. In this podcast, we will be discussing and meeting with credentialed technicians who have created their own path with business ownership within the veterinary space.
Our goal is to help inspire burnt out vet techs before they leave the industry altogether through our stories and the stories of other vet tech business owners.
Hi, everyone. We are starting off our third podcast episode today, and we are going to be talking about our first day on the job. So, we are going to be talking about first day on the job for me as a relief technician, and we are going to be talking about first day on the job for Michelle as a mobile tech, and just what things we would do again, what we would change, how we would be a little bit more prepared for those first days, and just how we felt in the whole aspect of our very, very first day on the job and owning our own businesses. So I know, though, that we want to start opening up these podcasts with a question of the week that we think would add value to people who do own their own businesses, whether that is in relief or mobile tech. So I'm going to have Michelle start off with our question of the week.
Yes. So we do have a question of the week. This is from the Unattached Vet Tech Group. I pulled this and it was asked a few weeks ago. And I think, Jen, this is more your arena than mine, but definitely would like some clarification from you, the expert.
Okay.
So somebody had posted, has anyone started their own LVT relief company? How do you get started and gain the trust of companies to hire you? Unfortunately, Rue doesn't service my area, so I thought about starting my own relief company. What are your thoughts?
Anyone who is thinking about starting their own LBT relief company, as far as getting started and gaining trust of companies to hire you, I would start with people that you've worked for, whether that's somebody that you're currently working for or people that you've worked for in the past. I would just let them know, people that you've had a really good rapport with, and say, hey, look, I'm thinking about starting my own relief company. Is your specific clinic looking for help? And kind of just start from there. When I started my own, I made a big Facebook group, and I, of course, added that on as like this is my official job now, just letting everyone know that I'm going to be doing relief. I went on to a lot of different, there's a bunch of different hiring groups on Facebook. So, I mean, if you have Facebook, that would be helpful too. Just on any of those Facebook groups that are hiring, I posted on that and I said, hey, I'm going to be starting my own relief company. This is the area that I'm going to be servicing. So if anybody's interested, like hit me up basically. And I would say I had a lot of recruiters actually contact me. And I also posted it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is going to be your friend when you own your own business. That's where you're going to get really good connections. You're going to get really good professional connections there. And so I definitely recommend that if you don't have a LinkedIn and you own your own business, make one and start utilizing it to your advantage. Start getting connections, start telling people that you own your own relief business and just creating that rapport as well. But I had a lot of recruiters actually contact me. And then the recruiters contacted other clinics and basically said, okay, we'll just pop your resume in so that if they do need relief, then they can call you. And I'd say I've had some clinics call me, not all of them, but I have had some clinics call me just based off of that. And then I also made a Hound profile. I don't know if any of you have heard of Hound, but it's free. You can go on and I feel like it's basically a type of Facebook for people who are looking for jobs. It's specific for the veterinary staff. So DVMs, vet assistants, licensed vet techs, you basically go on there. You can create your own platform. You can basically ask for the amount of money that you want to make. You have your resume pop up on there, and you can say what you would prefer to work. So whether that's overnight shifts, whether that's day shifts, whether you prefer to work in emergency clinics or specialty clinics or general practice clinics, what shifts you're preferring to work as far as hours, it's all on there. And clinics from all over the United States can find you on that platform and they can just message you and say, hey, you know, if you're looking for a job, we'd love to talk to you and see if we can hire you, whether it's relief or whether it's full time. So I did also use the Hound platform. Rue, I think I kind of half-assed signed up for Rue, but Rue also
Tell us what
doesn't.
you,
I mean, but it's like because the same thing that this question, right? She said, unfortunately, Rue doesn't service my area.
yeah.
And it was kind of the same thing where it's like Rue really didn't service my area either. And so I thought about it was one of those things where I literally got on and I started signing up, making an account for myself, and then they wanted me to do a video interview, but
Oh,
not with somebody. It's just like they just wanted a video of me, and I'm pretty sure I was like in my pajamas and I hadn't showered, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna do that right now. Like,
right.
no, that's not professional. But then I just never went back and did it. But I didn't need to because like I said, I was contacting people who had worked with me before in the past and letting them know I was going relief. And then I announced it on all of those other places. And I had just left the place that I was working full time, and they were needing me to do pretty much full time relief there as well. So that's how I did it. And then once you have a rapport with just a couple of clinics that are going to be using you regularly, you don't need a ton of clinics, especially when you know that you have clinics that you really like working for. That's what I did. And then how did I land my first gig? It was like I said, a recruiter had contacted me, and a recruiter had contacted a clinic that was like 3 hours away. And then they got into contact with me and they had asked me, and I told them, I said, I'm starting my own business. It's going to be an LLC. It wasn't quite an LLC at that point, but it was going to be. And I had a contract. Like from the very, very beginning with these clinics that I wasn't a W-2 and I was going to be 1099. I already had a contract made up, and the contract is very, very clear on basically my terms as far as I'm only going to be working these hours and I'm not going to be working any more. And if I'm going to be staying, then I'm going to be getting paid overtime, things like that. I think that maybe we could do an episode where we specifically talk about contracts. Um,
Yes.
so I'm not going to go too into that, but I think having a contract is really, really important. And I think a lot of clinics they might be intimidated by that and say, well, I mean, you really don't need a contract, but you do.
You do.
You need to be protecting yourself and you cannot trust people. I think we've all learned that in some way, shape, or form. I think that these clinics expect to be trusted, but they really can't be trusted. So, but we'll go deeper into that in another episode. Um, and then as far as, how do you get these companies to trust you and to hire you? I think that that's just going to be based off of an interview, right? That's how they hire regular staff is they're going to talk to you and they're going to interview you and they're going to have conversations with you and they're going to know right off the bat whether they're going to want to hire you, whether that's full-time or relief. So to get them to gain their trust, you have to be confident enough in yourself to know that, hey, yeah, I can do this and I can work with pretty much anyone. And you'll gain that trust as you do more jobs too. And then, of course, have them have write testimonials for you and referrals, things like that. So that's what worked for me.
Would you also recommend, because you had a Facebook page for your business as well, would you
Yeah.
recommend them getting a Facebook business page for other clinics to see maybe, pictures of them or, like the blurb or the verbiage? Would you recommend that?
Yeah, yeah, I would recommend that. And I did that for myself as advertisement for myself so everyone would know that, I do own my own business and this is my job at this point in time. I also would recommend getting a website. I think having a website is going to be really important. Have your resume on it, what your skills are. And people really enjoy going on websites and learning a little bit more about you. So that's something that I'm going to be doing here pretty soon is also just having a website about me. And I know a lot of people on the vet tech unattached that have their own websites. And I think it just helps with marketing and with advertisement and just also just showing how professional that you are as well. So
Yes.
that's something that I would do as well.
Okay. So there you have it. Get a LinkedIn profile, make a Facebook page, have your LLC, have contracts, work with people that you have worked with previously.
That's where it's gonna at least get you going to start. Is if you have good rapport and people have really enjoyed working with you in the past, then it shouldn't be that difficult for you to find a job to
Yeah.
start.
Yes. Well, I mean, certainly, and you've done great work for yourself. You have several clinics that hire you on a weekly basis. So
Yeah.
if anybody's going to give advice, I think it's the great advice is coming from Jen. She knows what she's doing.
So, how are you doing, Michelle, and how's your week been?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's what the 4th of July weekend, so I don't know about you, but I barely worked. The
Yeah.
small days. The beauty of owning our own business is working very little during the holidays.
Right. Which is
Um,
the opposite of what it used to be for me.
right? Exactly. Yeah. And I
Hmm.
same thing, 4th of July. Oh, sorry, we got to be here for the 5th. We got to
Yep.
keep working. But
Yep.
no, I took 4 days off. I'm coming in on day number 4 right now, so I'm
Nice.
today's technically my Sunday, even though it's Monday, and I took worked a half day Thursday and had Friday off, Saturday off, Sunday off. Played a lot of video games. I just like hung out in the basement and video gamed all weekend. It was like that's what I did, and I was so tired. Yeah, I did that for like 3 days straight as I just like sat in the basement and like melted with my video games because I was
Oh.
so tired Thursday. I was exhausted, but I was like vacation time, and I'm just gonna do this. And then I worked on stuff for the podcast.
All right. So yeah, so you spent all weekend playing video games. I spent all weekend
In the
out
mountains,
in
right?
the mountains again. Yeah, like total opposite. But at least like you did something like relaxing. I feel like it was way more relaxing than what I did. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do to just like settle and like did you like do anything special for the 4th of July? Did you go see fireworks or anything?
No, actually, we were really glad about that. No, we stayed inside and I don't know, Bronson, he's getting more and more worked up every year for the 4th of July as he's gotten older. So I've,
Hmm.
kind of wanted to stay in with him. And we live near like 100 lakes, and each lake has their own fireworks display.
Hmm.
My crazy loud neighbors behind us like to light off everything and catch the neighborhood on fire. And so we can just watch from our back porch. And we actually did go out to our back porch for like 15, 20 minutes. And in all three directions, we can just watch fireworks from everywhere. So
Nice.
yeah, we like being quiet during the holidays.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, but I thought about you. I'm like, Jen, here I am in like my little dungeon coop basement playing video games, and Jen's out there like hiking the mountains and stuff.
So there was no hiking this, we didn't hike, but we went and we spent, so it's the same thing where I live. Like we have a bunch of lakes all around us. And like you said, every lake has like their own fireworks show. We ended up going to Priest Lake, spending it with our best friend's family. She had her entire family there. There was like a ton of people. We ended up staying on her mom's property, so we like camped out on their property, and then they have a cabin on the lake. So we were like driving back and forth with the dogs. We had all three of the dogs, and they were like the talk of the town. Everybody was like amazed and obsessed with all of our dogs. And of course, we had the puppy. So everyone's like obsessed with the puppy. So it was really, really nice. We did that, but 4th of July evening, it was pouring down rain. It rained
Oh,
the entire time, like to the point where it was like, oh, it's probably just gonna rain a little bit. So me and my husband, like, we crawled into our tent and we were like, okay, well, let's just take a nap before fireworks. And it started to rain, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna wait till it stops raining, and it never stopped. It rained all night long. And I was
oh,
like, well, I don't even want to get out because it was wind, because I know it was really windy by the lake. It wasn't windy where we were staying, but it was really windy by the lake. And I was like, I do not want to go out there when it's windy and it's pouring down rain, and then with the dogs too. So, yeah, it rained all night long. And so we went home on Saturday, and then we kind of just chilled at the house. But it was really, really nice to just be at the lake. We went on the boat. They had jet skis, just really nice. And like that family is so like they're so kind, and they're always so welcoming, and this is the same family that we went to Greece with. So they're just
oh.
they're just awesome.
So they're
Awesome
they're
people.
family.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, they
Uh,
treat us like we're family. Like it's just so, it's really nice to have people like that in your life. It was just a lot going on this week. I just worked on Tuesday. That was it. That was the only day I
nice.
worked. Yeah, I worked 4 to
Love it. I
2.
love that for you, girl. Yes, I worked one day during the 4th of July weekend. Yes.
Yeah, I worked 4 to 2 on Tuesday. I had Monday off. We did our recording,
Yep.
worked Tuesday, and then yeah, I had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have today off, and then I'm back to work tomorrow. It was like my first 4th of July week where I literally had the entire time off. Well, I guess that's not true. I think last year I actually got married, so I was on my honeymoon, and the year before that I got engaged.
Oh, I didn't
So
know that. Okay.
yeah, so that's not true. But I mean, but I was still working full time then. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean,
Uh,
I was home and uh, it was really, really nice to not have to work, and it's gonna suck going back tomorrow, but
yeah.
such is life.
Yeah. What we discussed earlier, sometimes you need the vacation after the vacation so you can decompress a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then it was my birthday yesterday too. So it's always the 4th of July is always a big thing for me, and I just feel like there's just so much going on. So it'll hopefully it'll slow down a little bit after this week, and summer will just be summer and relaxing.
Yes, I can't wait. I feel like I don't have any other summer plans. I am, however, speaking of birthdays, me and my husband, this is also one of the best points about having your own business is you can take off time whenever you want. And me and my husband are going to Costa Rica during Thanksgiving week.
Oh,
Yes,
yay!
yes. We
Are you guys singing
just
an all-inclusive?
so another perk of owning your own business. Um, First of all, thank you, Jill, if you're listening. But actually, probably one of my very top clients, Jill, her parents own a Verbo down there, and she was
Oh,
like,
nice.
yes. She was like, I will hook you up with our friends and family discount. And literally, it's such a great deal that me and Alex couldn't turn it down.
Yeah.
And my birthday falls in November. It's November 20th. And so we usually right around Thanksgiving is when I'm celebrating my birthday. And this year, me and my husband are like, we're going to skip Thanksgiving. We're going to take up my client on this offer and we're going to go stay at her parents' Verbo on the ocean. I think it is like right between the ocean and the jungle a little bit. Yeah. So it looks beautiful. It looks amazing. And working at a vet clinic, you know damn right well you can't go in there and be like, hey, can I have the week of Thanksgiving off and
Oh,
the
yeah.
days after Thanksgiving? I want to go down to Costa Rica. Can you spare a body off the floor? You know they're gonna be like, no, bro, get your ass in
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'll be
Yeah.
so nice. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so exciting.
Yes, yes. And thank you, Jill, for being an awesome client and giving me a hell of a good deal on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, because
Oh my
it's
gosh.
yeah, yeah. So that's my big cabal for the year is going to doing that. And I even told Alex like I want to record the podcast from here, by the way. And he was like, "Of course you would." he was like, "He was like, of course you would." I'm like, "Yes." So we'll be
You're
recording an
like,
episode.
I'm in Costa Rica.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So yes, and
No, that'll be so much fun. We've been to Cabo, we've been to Dominican Republic, and then we went to Cancun. But I really do want to
oh,
go to Costa Rica. We were actually talking this weekend with one of our buddies. He was like, "Hey, like, can we do like an all-inclusive at some point this winter?" And we're like, "Yeah, let's do it again, like just for a couple days, because it's just nice and relaxing. You don't really have to do much, and you can just chill and drink and do whatever you want."
that
But
sounds
that will
fun.
be so much fun. I'm so
Yes.
excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Me too. And it's something I've been doing a lot since I started my business is traveling. I have not done this much traveling in my entire life until I started my own business. Like this
Yep.
is oh God, I went to Arizona, Scottsdale, and what's that damn little town called next to Scottsdale? Oh my God, everybody loves it. Sedona. That's it.
Oh yeah, I've been to Sedona, Arizona.
Yep, yep.
Yes.
I went
Yep.
there this year already, and then I went to WBC, and now I will be going to Costa Rica. So like 3 trips in 1 year, and like I said, you can't get that at a vet clinic, so it's like,
Nope.
why
Nope. We
not? Yeah.
mm-hmm. No,
Yep.
we just went to Argentina in February, and then we went to Canada. We went to Banff in January, and then yeah, and then we kind of took a little bit of a break from traveling, but yeah, our next one we want to go to New Zealand in December.
Oh, that's gonna be gorgeous.
Yeah, it'll be their
Uh,
summertime. So yeah, I mean, traveling is a major perk when you own your own business. I mean, you don't have to ask for time off. You can just be like, "Hey, we're going on a trip,
yep,
and this is what we're doing."
yep,
It's really nice. One of the big perks of owning your own business. And because yeah, we
yes.
never get time we never get time off
Mm-mm. No,
in the vet field. They don't give us time off. Managers don't give us time off. They tell us that we're too short-staffed. I remember there was a time where I was going to, I think it was in 2020, which obviously COVID, but I was supposed to go on a 2-week cruise. It was literally right before everything got shut down. I was supposed to go on a Panama Canal cruise. And I remember telling them that it was going to be 2 weeks. And at first they said it was fine. But then I think we lost a couple people. So were saying that it was going to be a little bit more difficult and they weren't sure if it was going to work. And I just remember being very disappointed and saying, "Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go
yeah.
on this trip." And and then you feel guilty when you take time off like that in the vet field. You feel really guilty. You're like, "Oh, I can't leave for that long." But I don't feel that way anymore.
No, and I get that. I've been there too with the guilt of leaving and I needed time off and you're like, how's the clinic doing? And you're
Yeah.
still thinking about it
Hmm.
even when you're on vacation because you know they're swamped, you know they're down a person, you know they're all running around and you're sipping on a pina colada on a beach and then you feel guilty for that. And that
Right.
is such a bad feeling when you're trying to decompress yourself. And the only one vacation I ever took in a clinic was I took a week off to actually go out near you, Washington, Oregon, back in 2018. And I I remember thinking how's Doc doing? How are all the girls doing? And I will say this, the clinic was really supportive of me taking time off. And I will say that one clinic I worked at was really good about allowing their techs to take time off work
Hmm.
for vacations and stuff. But the one I worked at before that, my husband actually was going to go out to England. Well, he did. I didn't get to go. But his best friend was getting married over Christmas in England. He moved over there from here, the States. And as soon as I accepted a job position at a clinic, I told him, but I didn't get in writing, which I wish I would have. But I was like, hey, I'll accept this job. It's October of 2016, I think it was. And I told him, but December of 2017, during Christmas and New Year's, I've already have plans to go to England with my boyfriend for his best friend's wedding. And they said, sure, no, not a problem. We'll take care of it then. 4 months into my employment there, this should have been my first red flag. The doc and the office manager brought me into the x-ray room and were like, it's either us or England. And I'm like, oh, so that's how it's going to be. And I actually stayed there for about a year and a half after that. And that's when I actually left them for the clinic that allowed me to go on vacations. Yeah, I will never forget that. And I didn't go, my husband did. And that's one of my
Oh my
biggest
gosh.
regrets is I should have said, well, then I guess consider this my 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We'll work on this together. I'll help you find my replacement. But
Yeah.
I told you about this the day I accepted this job position. But the problem was I did it over the phone and I
Yeah.
didn't get it in writing. And
Yeah, oh my
uh
gosh. And it's like
yeah.
how awful is that? And I know that a lot of our listeners have probably had the experience where your managers maybe have made you feel guilty for asking for time off or for going on vacation, or even said like it's this job or go on your vacation. And our our minds, I think a lot of times will just go to, well, I need this job
I did this job.
and I can't quit. Or I can't find another job, which isn't true. You can find another job because
Yeah.
I mean, I at this point in time, I'm going on the trip.
Yeah.
I'm going on the trip. I can find another job. I'm a damn good technician. I can work anywhere, and people would be lucky to have me. I'm going on the damn trip.
Yes.
And I mean, my gosh, it's just so that's so manipulative for them to
Yeah.
put you in the X-ray room and to say that. Oh, that would make me mad. Like
Yeah.
that's weird. In the X-ray room?
in the X room. I remember it like it was yesterday. Like I just remember my doc, and I don't want to say her name, but I just remember my doc saying, "Hey, Michelle, we need to have a talk." And I'm like, "That's not good." And I seen my office manager coming up, and I'm like, "Oh boy, what's going on?" I'm like, "What did I fuck up?" I'm like sitting here thinking I did something wrong,
Right.
like one of my skill sets or just doing something wrong within my job. But no, it was to tell me that I had to stay and not go on this trip that was already booked when I gave them over a year's notice.
Yeah, no.
And
No.
yeah, and that's why I was like, and I remember telling my husband, I was like, well, they, told me it's either the trip or the job. And my husband was like, well, fucking quit. He's like, there's a
Yeah.
clinic on every corner.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I felt in myself, I was trapped because I had just started this clinic. I was there for maybe
Right.
4 months. And I was like, I don't want to job hop, dude. I was like, I at least want to stay here. And she was a brand new clinic that had just opened up too. Like she was only in business as a private practice doctor for maybe about a year. So I think a lot of the issue was she wanted me to marry her clinic because that was her baby. But I was a tech that was getting paid, I think, $14 an hour at
Yeah.
that time. And I didn't know how to advocate for myself. But I'm like, this is your baby. This isn't my baby. And I
Right.
wish I would have stood up and like, no. But I was like, well, I guess I'm not going. And they just kind of, I put my tail between my legs and a year and a half I
Yeah.
left anyway. And then my husband still went on the trip and I still hear about
Oh
how
my
great it
gosh.
was, how
Yeah.
fantastic it was. And I'm like, I was supposed to go on that trip too. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why
Your work will
now,
always
yeah,
be there at the end of the day.
yes, you're right. And the clinic will survive without you. They will. And that's
Yeah.
why we have people like Jen. Is that way you can take time off work.
Yeah.
That's why we have people like Jen.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what relief is there for, so that your staff who's there all the time, like they can take a break and they can go on vacation and they can enjoy their family and those memories because life is freaking short. And if you have those opportunities to travel and to go do those things, then you need to do them. I know that when I was younger, I missed out on a lot of time with my immediate family. Um, and it was because of work. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I said I couldn't do something because of work. And I regret it. Like,
Same.
I do. I regret it. I wish that I would have made more time for family. I think that I would have different relationships with my immediate family now if I had made the time, but things happen for a reason and things are the way that they are now. So
Yeah.
just is what it is. But I think we miss out on a lot because of our jobs and it's not worth it at the end of the day.
It's not. It's not. It's not. There's a clinic on every corner, y'all. And if your clinic is not going to appreciate you and let you take some time off work, especially when you give them a year and a half notice, like you give
Yeah.
them over a year, and they say they can't accommodate that, I would say 8 months before the trip, find a new damn clinic. Find a new
And
clinic.
and get it in writing. If
Yeah.
you have to say I need this time off and then they give you the time off and then they take it back, you get that in writing. Pretty sure, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's illegal in that sense to say that they approved your time off and then took it back. That's just manipulative. That's not cool.
Yep. And that was my fault. I didn't think ahead of time to get it in writing. I just assumed that my office manager, my brand new office manager, was going to be like, open and honest and remember it and be like, oh, yeah, sure. And we'll still hire you. Not a problem. But no, I didn't get it in writing. Looking back, I wish I would have absolutely been like, let's get this in writing
Yeah.
along with the rest of my package. And I didn't. And yeah, that sucked. But you live and you learn. And that's why, again, Jen's out there helping if any technicians need vacation. There's lots of Jens in different parts of the country that a clinic can call. There's no excuse not to give your techs time off work when they freaking need it because they're just going to
Right.
wind up leaving you for the clinic down the road that's going to give them the time off.
All right, you guys, we also just wanted to share a story with you that relates to the podcast, but also we just kind of want to really let you know what our message is for this podcast. I recently ended up at a general practice. I took my little puppy there for his first set of shots, and I was talking to one of the doctors there who knows me and she knows about my podcast and she knows what I'm trying to do. And she was talking to one of the assistants and she was letting them know what our podcast is about and about, starting their own business. But she did stop and say, But I don't want you to do that. I want you to say, I don't want you to leave. She's like, so please don't leave me. But you can listen to her podcast, but don't leave. And we just want to make it really clear that we are not encouraging the technicians who are happy on the floor, that we're not encouraging them to leave. If you have a unicorn clinic and you are super happy working where you're working and you have the best boss and you're super satisfied with where you are, that makes us so happy. We wish that we ultimately had that. That was both of our plan in the beginning, but we do know that there are a lot of technicians out there who are burning out and they do have one foot out the door and they're ready to do something different. That's who this podcast is for. I mean, it's for everyone, right? It's for all of us. And we all know that we experience pretty much all the same things. But as far as this podcast, we are just encouraging those who are ready to leave the field that you have other options and you can still do what you love, but you can do it in a different way.
Yes, I agree. And I I feel like it's important to note, and I'm sure it's true for the relief side with Jen, if you want to seek out mobile work, I feel it's really important that you have at least like 5 to 7 years experience in a clinic under your belt.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
super important. Listen, you have to read body language very well. You have to know body language. You also have to know a lot about the subject that matter, vet med, because your clients are gonna be like, oh, you're a vet tech? Do you mind if I ask you a question about my dog's nutrition? Do you mind if
Hmm.
I ask you a question about why they're doing this? So I feel like we were all a baby tech once. We all
Right.
were, young, ambitious, ready to go. But over time, it wears you down. It wears down your body, your mind, your well-being. And if you're in that situation, me and Jen are just trying to present these options to you and what we have done and what we haven't done and share our experiences to help technicians before they leave the industry altogether. That's been my whole mission all along is like, what can we do? And Jen has had the same vision. We've all had this vision of like, what can we do to help technicians before they hit that point where they say, fuck it, I'm gonna go work at Costco, man. Like, and I just seen that in one of the vet tech groups last week, actually. And that's the sad part is we're losing them. So no, me and Jen are not here to poach technicians out of a clinic. We're here to stop them before they leave the industry altogether.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If you are still in the clinic and you are loving what you do, then great. That makes us really happy. And that's what we want at the end of the day. We just want people to love what they do, to have that passion for the animals, which is why we all started in the first place, to keep learning something new every day. And if, again, if you have that amazing unicorn clinic, like keep at it. So,
Yes, yes. And one of the things I saw this past week, I was in one of those Facebook vet tech groups, and I saw a technician there. She said she gave her notice and she didn't have a complete backup plan, but she gave it, I think her wording was a good 12-year run. But she was so sick and tired of vet med. And that post, it just stuck with me for at least a couple hours, enough for me to want to mention on this podcast to be like, hey, this is what's going on in our industry. Are leaving. So we need to do something about this and try to help convince them to stay one way or another. It may not be the traditional way you think they should stay, but they're staying and they're keeping their skill set. Whether it's the relief or mobile work, they still have hands on your patients at the end of the day. We don't want them to be like this girl right here who after 12 years, 12 dedicated years, up and left the industry without a backup plan and she's exiting vet med. That is a problem. And
mhm.
that's why hopefully this podcast will help those techs.
Right. And I mean, I would say lately, at least 60% of the technicians and assistants that are posting on these Facebook groups specifically for vet technicians are like, I'm sick of vet med. I'm sick of the toxicity, or I'm tired physically, I'm tired mentally, I can't do this anymore. What are my other options?
Yeah.
So again, we're here showing you what your other options are.
Yeah. And How many times a week do you see in those vet tech groups? I'm looking for a work from home job, looking for a work from home job. Do you
Oh
see those
yeah,
like
remote jobs.
everywhere? And as somebody who worked a remote position, let me give you the rundown. I've worked two jobs that were within vet med, and at the end of the day, you cannot just casually do these jobs at your leisure like you think. A lot of them have clauses. I see all the time, hey, I just had a baby, I need a work from home job. Listen, they're not going to pay you to sit there and watch your kid. I know this sounds harsh, but in the positions that I worked, you have to have some form of daycare. They don't want to see you on camera with your kid screaming in the background or your baby hanging off of you. So a lot of those jobs, unfortunately, do not work with that situation. And the other hard truth is that that job is so in demand that they're hard to get. There's like hundreds of applicants for one position. So you can't really rely on these companies. And given that, there's always a replacement ready for you at a drop of the dime who will do the job faster and cheaper. And these
Hmm.
corporations, they feed off of that, and the pay is often low.
Yeah,
So it,
I've noticed that.
yeah, like
The
$12
pay's
an
not
hour.
very good. Yeah.
Hmm. No, and I'm sure Jen, you make more than $12 an hour, right?
Yeah.
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Oh
both.
yeah. I
Oh
make
yeah,
well over, yes. Yep.
exactly. Yes, we both make well over $12 an hour.
Yeah.
So it's we're trying to get people to think outside of the box.
Hmm.
It's not just the clinic, work from home position, drug rep, or death. Like there's more in between, I assure you.
Right.
Yes. And so, with that being said, what else? Anything else going on with your week this past week? Anything good or?
I mean, I worked on Tuesday, and me and Michelle were just having a conversation the other day, and I was like, I am really bad at figuring out what my highs and what my lows are because after each day of work, I literally try to purge out my entire day out of my brain. I try not to remember it. I try to forget what each day brings because I work in emergency and I usually see a lot of really bad things. And it can get really hard emotionally when you remember all of the horrible things that you see. Because I see a lot of horrible things. And I try to just purge everything out. So I told Michelle, I'm like, I cannot remember. I cannot remember my work day from Tuesday. Because as soon as I leave the hospital, and I don't even know how I do it. I've had some people be like, how do you do that? I honestly don't know. I didn't used to do that. I used to hang on to everything and I used to be able to remember every little thing. And I just remember not being able to handle it emotionally. And now I just don't remember. And I wish I could tell people how to do it because it, it does, I feel like it helps me and it helps me take better care of my patients too, because I'm not holding on to, what happened last week. I was telling Michelle, I really try, like, if I have a really bad case and I leave and I'm gone for a couple days and I come back, I try not to even ask what happened with that case because I don't even want to know. Like, because if the patient died, if they had to euthanize, if I did all of that work in a 10 or 12-hour shift, and then I find out that a couple of hours later my patient died, like that just ruins my entire day. It really ruins it for me. And I know some people are the total opposite where they really just want to know, and I think that's okay. But for me personally, I think it makes it easier for me to not hold on to my days. So I told her I'm going to try to be better about remembering my highs and my lows for the week, at least like maybe write them down and be like, oh, this would be a really good thing to talk about on the podcast. But lately I've just been really bad because I try to forget everything.
It's good though. I mean, you're not. I'm the exact opposite. I'm that person that holds on to it. But to be fair, you worked one day last week, so I mean,
Yeah.
the beauty of owning your own business, you worked one day last week, so you don't have much to go off of. And but I think that's very respectable because I feel like a lot more people, including myself, should practice that. I don't purge. I hold it in. I think about it. I dwell on it. And I'm like, what? I dropped the ball on this. I messed up here. And I will soak for like the rest of the week over it. So I think you purging, I think a lot of us, including myself, need to we need to take note from that.
Yeah. And I used to hang on to everything, and I just know that I did not do well with that. me forgetting makes it easier. And I think that's also why I don't do well in general practice, because in general practice you remember your clients, you remember all your patients, you remember, the C-section you did last week on those puppies and how many puppies there were and all of those things. And I think general practice is a lot more, you see a lot more happy things too. So it's a lot easier to remember. But I know that in emergency, I just see a lot of really bad things and a lot of really sad cases. So it's just a lot easier for me to take the day as it is. And then after I leave, then that's it. And then I just leave it for that day. And then that way I can come back the next day and be okay. I don't know if that's healthy, but it works for me.
If it works for you, it works for you. That's I don't know if all the shit I do is healthy either, but
Right.
it works for me. And I'm sure I got a lot of unhealthy habits that, I make no secret of it. I go to my therapist every other Monday, and I word vomit to her my entire week. And I, for myself, I had an incident last week that was out of my control. I consider it my low, and I'm still thinking about it. And I think it comes with owning a business. And quite differently from Jen's, I'm seeing the patients every month. I'm seeing them on a very regular basis. I have a very intimate relationship with all of my clients. And this past Wednesday, I had to get some dental work done. And my dentist was like, "No problem, Michelle. We can schedule you halfway through the day." They had me scheduled at like 2:30. My work day was like from like 10 till 5-ish that day. And I had a gap in my schedule. So I was like, perfect. This will just take 20 minutes. I was in that damn dentist chair for an hour and a half.
Oh man.
Yep. My appointment was at 2:30. My dentist walked into the room at 3:20.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I was ticked. But I was still showing grace and elegance because the dental field has a high suicide rate, just like the vet field. So
Yes,
I'm
that's
sitting there
true.
like gritting my teeth, like my clients are waiting on me. I was like, guys, I gotta go. But I was like, I understand. I know you guys are backed up. It's okay. And the dentist walks in. She's like, oh, you've been so patient with us. And on the inside, I was frying as I'm like texting my clients one after another saying, hey, I'm at my dentist appointment right now. They're taking a lot longer than I expected. Please bear with me. And I had two clients say, it's going to be too late for you to come out. We'll see you. Can we get rescheduled for next week? And I was really upset. Not upset at my clients, not upset at my clients at all.
Just
I
the
was the
situation.
situation, exactly. I was so upset at the situation, but I handled myself like a professional at the dentist. I handled myself like a professional with my clients. But I got home and Alex, like my husband, he could tell. I was like, bad day, dude. Bad day. Mm. And that was definitely my low, but it was out of my control. It was 100% out of my control, but that's what comes with the territory of owning your own business is having situations like this. And I have to remember both those clients have been with me for 3 to 4 years now, and they understand that I'm always there. I don't call off. I stayed in communication with them, but to me, that was still a low because I still felt responsible for my clients saying, Michelle, I'm sorry, it's going to be too late by the time you can get to us. And I dwelled on it at least until the weekend, and this
Oh
was
man.
this was Wednesday. I remember it was Wednesday, and then it was my blue area route, and I felt terrible for those clients. So yeah, and I dwelled. So that was my low of the week. But as a business owner, sometimes these things happen, and I communicated with my clients, and I will see them next week. So that was my low of the week. And or you can do what I think is awesome. Jen does, and you're like, I purged it all out.
Oh
I
no,
love.
I don't remember. Something bad happened, but I don't remember what happened.
Yeah,
I know that I
I
learned from it and it's over.
exactly. Yeah, or you can be like me, where you dwell on it in an unhealthy manner as well. So it's like whatever you take.
Oh, I mean, I've been there. I remember, like, I know how that feels. I
Yeah,
totally, yeah. But then it's
yeah,
like, what does all that energy really do at the end of the day? You can just be like, okay, this is what happened. I had no control over it, and I'm thankful that my clients were so cool about it, and they understood.
yeah,
And hopefully this doesn't happen again, but it might, because those things you just don't have any control over.
yeah. And that's the thing. Shit happens in everyday life, whether you're working in a clinic or you're doing relief work or you're doing mobile work. It's going to happen, and sometimes it's going to be out of your control, like what happened with
Hmm.
me and my dentist. It was not in my control that they had a dentist call up and one was taking on the patient load of two. And that's
Yeah.
like the same thing in our world. If a DVM calls out sick unexpectedly, you'd want the clients to be understanding. So I was understanding, but also on the inside, like frying. I was
Hmm.
in that chair just texting my client so fast, like, I'm so sorry, I'm still here. What can we do? And yeah, so that's like the one of the downfalls of being a business owner is that guilt sometimes if you're not 100% on your game, but usually your clients will understand as long as you're in good communication with them. And so, and I did want to share something awesome this week. I actually have a show and tell for the people that are on YouTube. And Jen, you know, I've been sitting here munching on these, but one of the other good things about being a mobile vet tech and having your own clients and not your DVM's clients is the snacks. And my clients keep me fed. Like,
Oh
I,
man.
yeah, they keep me, my husband fed. And one of my sweetest clients made me peanut butter cookies. Let me see here. So you can see they're almost gone, but she's like,
Oh my
peanut butter
gosh.
cookie bag, right? I've been sitting here munching on it. And it says, peanut butter cookies for Michelle and company.
Oh,
Yes. All right. Thank you, Kathleen. But it gets better. I told her, which is the truth. I love my husband, but he will eat the food my clients make me. And I'm like, that's my snacks, not yours. So
you're
my
like, I
client,
worked for them. It's not you.
yeah, did you have to stick your finger up a dog's ass for those peanut butter cookies?
Right?
Because I did, yeah. But
Mhm.
then get this, another one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yay.
totally not secret stash of peanut butter cookies for Michelle and only Michelle from Zuku.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So I thought that was just it just made my week was my client making peanut butter cookies for me and my husband and the secret stash just for me because she knew my husband was gonna sneak in there and eat some. So I mean, highs and lows, either, you can have highs and lows of the week or you can purge, but either way, being a business owner, it's definitely different from being in a clinic. And yeah.
When you just feel so much more appreciated because they know that you're the one that's doing the work. I feel like a lot of times too, what in the vet clinics, I'm the one who is sitting there and I'm busting my ass trying to keep this dog alive. And at the end of the day, the DVM gets a thank you card and the technicians aren't really mentioned. I mean, I think that some clients are getting a little bit better with it. I mean, especially when we have hospitalized patients and then they see how much the technicians are doing. And I think that Veg has actually probably proven that point a little bit more where they're actually the clients are back there and they're seeing how much the technicians and the assistants are
Oh,
doing as and things like that. So I think that clients are starting to really notice. But sometimes, you do all that work and then at the end of the day, you're like, I don't feel that appreciated because the DVM is getting all the thanks, which, I mean, they have every right, but so do we. I mean, we do a lot of work. So I think in your sense, you are getting all the appreciation, and that's all that we want at the end of the day, right? We just
yeah.
want to be appreciated. We want to be appreciated by our coworkers, by our managers, by our clients. So when you own your own business the way that you do, they know that you are doing all the work and you're the face of your company. So to get that appreciation from your clients is it's it just means a lot.
It
And it
does.
makes you want to keep going. It makes you just want to do it more.
Exactly. Yeah, it definitely does. And there's, like those downfalls where I was running behind all day on Wednesday and it felt terrible. And again, my clients understood because my clients are wonderful. But to have a client be like, "Hey, I made you some peanut butter cookies for the 4th of July weekend. Here you go." It's so heartwarming because like I've said before, it's no longer your DVM's name on the door. It's yours and you got to take care of these people. There's that whole level of responsibility. And if you show your clients how much you care about them and their pets, and if you show up, you communicate, you do the job well, they're going to bake you peanut butter cookies. They're gonna, remember that Golden Girls is your favorite show and get you Golden Girl oven mitts for Christmas. And it's not the gifts, but it's the intent behind the gifts that
Right.
make it worth it. It's the sweetest thing. So it's so heartwarming to know that clients will do that for you. And I gotta imagine Jen with relief work too, client or your clinics, they appreciate you for everything you do. I mean, you don't work for one clinic, you're in and out and you have several that work under you. So I'm sure they're so appreciative towards you.
Right. Yeah, I do have to say I've noticed a much bigger appreciation coming from when I actually show up on the floor and people are like, "Oh my gosh, yay, Jen's here," or "Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you." I mean, I think there were times too where I would show up on my day off and they were short staffed and they'd be like, "Hey, Jen's here." It's one of those things too where I would always show up on the days that I was scheduled, but you're not appreciated on the days that you're supposed to show up because you're supposed to show up. So people are like, "Yeah, you're here, great, like get to work." But it's different, that appreciation, and people are really happy to see you and they really enjoy working with you. I get that a lot too, where I go to certain clinics and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Jen's here. Like, I really enjoy working with you." Or, or even just the offer of like, "Hey, if you're looking for a forever clinic, we'll take you." Like, yeah, no, thanks, probably never. Like, I really like what I'm doing. And I mean, and not that it's because I wouldn't work there, because I would say most of the clinics that I've been doing relief at have been amazing and their staff is really happy and they are doing something right. But for the most part, I enjoy what I'm doing and I enjoy making my own schedule. It's so different as far as even just walking into your work day and you're really excited and you're a little nervous, especially like if you've never worked at that clinic before. You get all those new jittery feelings again, and it's not that same monotony of the same day, the same people, the same bullshit, the same drama. And I'd say that's one of the biggest reasons why I went relief too, because you get wrapped up in the drama and you get wrapped up in everybody's business, and then you really get to know who people are. It's just this unnecessary toxic drama in every clinic and every job. I mean, it's not just in the vet world. It's just like high school all over again, no matter where you go. But it's really nice because I am able to just walk in and I'm able to just go to work and I'm able to just focus on the patients and focus on the actual job and my skills. And I really don't know people well enough to get mixed up in the drama. And I don't, I'm not around long enough to get mixed up into that. So it's really nice.
I never thought about it from that point of view since I'm no longer in a clinic. It has got to be very, oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Pure work at this point for you. Your work is very authentic because you're not getting caught up in the drama. You're not getting caught up on, oh, this girl's got Saturday off. That's bullshit. Or I just found out so and so's making $1 more an hour than me. You
Yeah.
don't get caught up in that. So you literally just focus on the patients. You walk in, you save the freaking day, and you walk out and you purge and you go home.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's really nice. And I don't have to sit there and be like, well, so and so is getting treated this way, and I don't think that's fair. Or, I don't have to waste my time getting caught up in all of that unnecessary energy. I think we see a lot of that in clinics nowadays, and I think it's really unfair to our patients and to our clients because we're so focused on our coworkers and we're so focused on the drama and we're so focused on things that don't even matter when at the end of the day we're supposed to be just taking care of our patients and we're supposed to be taking care of the clients and we're supposed to just be doing our job. And I remember when I started at the big city emergency, I walked in and I didn't really know anybody and I just focused on the job and it was really, really nice for a while because I didn't know anybody. I wasn't caught up in the drama. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was unfair. I just knew that I was doing what I loved doing. And then it got to the point where I did start to get to know everybody and then I did kind of get involved in the drama and then it just it wasn't the same. But it is really nice when you're almost like the new kid in town and no one's gonna talk to you about that stuff. And I think sometimes like people are like, "Oh, well, I'm not a part of the crowd," or people aren't really talking to me. But at the end of the day, that's not really what it's about anyway. You're supposed to be there to work and you're supposed to be there to take care of your patients. So don't get caught up in all that drama anyway. It's not gonna do you any good.
Yeah, and I feel like every clinic I've worked at, there's always been the clinic politics, the drama, the favorites, the better schedule, the pay, the oh, she doesn't want to do this type of appointment, whatever. And I feel like that draws a lot of techs out of the industry. Is
Yeah.
situations like that is mainly the drama, I would imagine. And I think that's why, just me thinking here off the top of my head, why so many techs want to go relief, because now I'm seeing it from your point of view. And I haven't saw it from your point of view up until now that your line of work being relief is so pure
Mhm.
because there's no gray area of, well, she got this, she got that, I'm not getting this, I'm miserable here. And then you have that energy, but you don't. You're lucky. You get to just walk in and help the animals and walk out, and you're appreciated because you're there when they need you, but
Right.
you're not attached to them. You're helping out.
Right.
So I think maybe it's again me thinking, but I think if you want to go relief, you could still be a little green thumbed in our industry. You could still kind of be a little bit of a baby talk and go relief. What do you think, Jen?
I think so in certain areas. I think that sticking to general practice, you probably could. I think that it would be a little bit, I think that emergency clinics would be a little bit more hesitant if you didn't have the experience. And I think emergency clinics in general are a little hesitant and even just hiring people who have only worked in general practice because it's just different. There's just a lot of different things that you see that maybe they don't see a lot in general practice as far as like when you're triaging and things like that. So I would say if you're going to go relief, I think it would be really good to be well-rounded, and that's what I did before I went relief. I wanted to go relief. I didn't think that I acquired all of the skills that I had wanted to in order to be confident enough to go relief. So I wanted to build up those skills and I wanted to learn more things so that when I did walk into an emergency clinic and they asked me to do like a manual CBC, or they asked me to do a platelet estimate, or they asked me to perform a cystocentesis or place an indwelling urinary catheter, I could say, okay, I can do that. Whereas before, if I didn't work at that clinic and I didn't do those things, and I did walk into other clinics and they asked me to do those things, and I say, hey, I can't actually do those things, but this is the money that I'm asking for, it's not really matching up. So I think that that's something else that you have to think of is because relief technicians can ask for more money, especially when you own your own business, but that also depends on your skills and how fast you can learn things and how fast you're willing to jump in to do those things as well. Because if you walk into doing relief on your first day and you're expecting to not do anything, you're just expecting to shadow somebody and be like, well, I don't really have to do much on my first day. No, that's not true because you're relief, you're there to help. So if there are things that you don't know how to do, as far as like their policies or their certain procedures, like you have to get them down pretty much right away. I would say within at least the first hour or two of your shift, you should pretty much be able to do things on your own. The only things that I have to ask for help for is if I'm making up an estimate, just making sure that I'm charging everything right or putting things into the computer system as far as, like I said, estimates, charges, things like that. But for the most part, I think on one of my places, I shadowed, I don't even think I shadowed them. I think they said, oh, we're just going to have you do rooms and I'm just going to be in there with you. I said, okay. And I did everything. And then after that, they were like, okay, do you need me? And I'm like, nope, I got it. Or like the example of, I remember on one of my first shifts at an emergency clinic, I was in the back and I was mostly doing float, but they needed somebody to triage. And they're like, do you feel comfortable triaging? And I remember saying, well, yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable triaging, but I just don't know your protocol. I don't know, you know, everybody has like a specific protocol where like they have to ask these certain questions or they have to, every hospital's a little bit different on that and whether they put them in a room or do they bring them straight to the back. And so I didn't know any of that. So I just was like, I mean, as long as you guys don't care how I do it, I can go in and I can triage. And she's like, cool, yeah, no, that that's fine. I just need you to go up and look at the dog and do the basics. Because at the end of the day, we should all know what the basics are. And I remember she asked me too, she's like, do you feel comfortable? And I was thinking in my head, I mean, not really, but I'm here to help. So I'm not going to say no. Like, and I think a lot of times when people go into training, they think, oh, well, maybe for the first week, I won't really have to do much because I'm just going to be following somebody around. But that's not necessarily true.
No. I like the fact that you can just jump in and learn something within an hour and a half.
If you've only worked in the field for a short period of time, I would probably recommend that you just try to build up your skills as much as possible. And that's not just your technical skills, that's your communication skills, talking to clients, talking to doctors, talking to other technicians, talking to assistants, and also just being respectful, like treating everybody the same in that sense as well. So I think that you could probably do it with only a couple of years of experience. I don't know if it'll be as easy as it is for people who are a little bit more senior though.
Okay.
Is the only thing that I can think of. I think that you build a lot more with the more years of experience that you have,
Yeah.
just in anything.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like most clinics would want a fully functional licensed technician just to hit the floor going as soon as you walk in on your first day of doing relief for any clinic. They're going to want you to walk in and say, "Okay, where do I intubate at? I'll be right there." Like
Right. Yeah.
that's the mentality you need to have is that um anything that you pack with you, is there anything that you carry with you on your first day of work, like any supplies or
Yeah, yeah. So I have a little pack that I wear. And I keep a special pen. So I tell people, like, this is my special pen. You could borrow it, but you need to give it back.
don't touch my
I
pen?
keep my special pens in there. I keep a little notebook in there for anything that I think that might be important. So, like, if there's certain codes that I need to remember, or like even if I'm just doing like a platelet estimate or something, like, so I don't have to like walk around and look for sticky notes anywhere. I have everything that I need in my pack. So I have a little notebook in there. I don't like wearing watches. People think it's so weird because everyone wears watches in the vet world, but I don't wear watches. So I
Oh,
actually have like a little stopwatch kind of thing like on my pack that I can just like grab and like look at it if I need to, if I'm doing like pulse or something, or but I hate wearing watches. Like it just I don't like it. So I have that on my pack. I
okay.
also pre-make bandages because a lot of times when you work in emergency, pretty much everything has a bleeding problem or a clotting problem, or if you poke a vein, like it's not like GP where, oh, I poked this vein and I blew it. Like it's fine, we can just use the other veins. Like in emergency, they really don't want you to poke the jugular vein very often because if they're having a clotting issue and you poke the jugular vein, that could be a big deal. Or if you need to place a central line, you want to keep the jugular veins open for central line placement. So I like to keep band-aids on hand on my pack and just use them for basically anything that I poke, any, venipuncture, something like that. I also like to just keep my stethoscope on my little pack. I don't put the stethoscope around my neck. I don't know if people know this, but if you have neck problems or if you have any sort of like neck issues or headaches or even just like back issues in general, sometimes when the stethoscope, I know that for me, if I keep the stethoscope around my neck all day long on a shift, I have really bad neck pain. So I keep the
Oh,
stethoscope down on my little fanny pack down there. And it's just easier. It doesn't get in my way. It's out of the way there. So I do that as well. And then I keep highlighters and Sharpies and Expo pens on me. What else do I keep in my pack? Oh, I have my own clippers. I don't know if people know, like, I feel like it's really popular nowadays.
pink
Those little,
ones.
yes,
I have
yes,
those.
those
I
little
have those.
Amazon clippers.
Yes.
They're so
The
amazing.
best.
They're the best clippers. They're
Yeah.
so cheap. They're like $20 on Amazon. You can replace the actual clipper blades. You can replace those, and they're super easy to clean and they're quiet. So they are the best for like cats or for like dogs that are really sensitive to noises like huskies or something like
Oof.
that. I feel like they do vibrate a little bit more, but I mean, I have such good luck with those for pretty much everything. So I always have my own clippers. I have my name on them. I have my own calculator in my pack too. I
Okay.
know I could use my phone, but I don't feel like that's super professional
Professional looking.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So I have my own calculator in my pack. And then I use like the little T-port covers or like the little plugs for my hospital patients so that I keep the IV lines protected. I like to just carry those around with me. Oh, and then of course bandage scissors, suture scissors. Um, they have my name engraved on them. I did have a pair of hemostats, so now I'm like really picky because I had a really good pair of hemostats that I got for Vet Tech Week, and I let a doctor at a clinic that I don't relieve at very often borrow them, and
Oh,
I
hell
legit
no.
said I was like, you can use these as long as you give them back. She never gave them back, and I didn't relieve there for months, and then I went back and I asked her, I was like, hey, do you remember? Like, does anyone know like where those hemostats might be? And they were like, No.
Oh,
I don't even remember you giving them to me. Okay, well, they have my name on them. So now it's like I don't even nope,
oh,
I don't let them borrow my stuff. It's mine. I mean, I paid for it. And if you're gonna lose it, yeah, that's what I do. And I think it's just a lot easier to have the pack. If I have everything that I need for the most part, then I don't have to be running around the clinic trying to figure out where everything is at. If I have the super important things with me. I mean, some clinics don't even really have, they don't even really carry their own pens. They just expect you to have your own pen. So it's just best to just have your own stuff on you. But I know that a lot of times too on my first day, I'll like go in and I will, if I have time, just start opening up all of the drawers so that I do know where everything is. That way, if an emergency does come in, I know where things are for the most part.
hmm.
So,
I like that. So be prepared. Put your name on everything. Get your name engraved
engraved. Yep.
on all your shit.
Hmm.
As soon as you walk in, you start opening the drawers and knowing where everything's at. That way you can just grab stuff. But most of your vital stuff you already have on you because you're prepared for whatever they need and you're showing them your value. You're like, I come prepared. I'm ready to hit the floor. Let's go. I'm not here to dilly-dally. I have my fanny pack. I got my engraved stuff. I just need to open up the drawers and let's go.
Right. And I've even had like people especially if like I have my own band-aid or I make my own band-aids and I just go in there like, wow, you even have your own little band-aids, like you're so prepared, look at you. And so it's nice to hear those compliments too. But people know that you're professional and that you're on top of it and that you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that the clinic also too, now they know that they're getting their values worth as well. They're like, look at Jen. She has everything on her. She's prepared. There's not a the only thing she just needs to know is where stuff is at so she can grab it, but she's got everything. She's worth every penny. So that is some really good advice is to put what you think you're going to need into a fanny pack, a belt bag, whatever it is the techs are in the clinics nowadays. But make sure you have it on you because looking prepared and from the mobile side, I could say when I look prepared, my clients love it. Like the littlest things to make you look like you're one step ahead,
Hmm.
it'll show your value. It definitely will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as like what I would do again, I don't know. I feel like I was pretty prepared for my first time. I mean, I was nervous and, you know, just I think meeting new people and obviously I think sometimes we think that we need to prove our worth when
Yes.
we meet new people and they're like and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to prove that they can trust me." But I would say for the most part, I really didn't with the clinics that I've worked at. And I don't know if I've just been really lucky, but I've had clinics welcome me with open arms. I've had their staff welcome me with open arms and be very trusting. And I think one of the very first places I worked at, they automatically had me as float, and their float technicians have them do surgery. And so they were just like, okay, like we just got this abdominal foreign body surgery. And so we need you to get surgery going. And that was really nice. Oh, I have my own surgery cap too, actually. I love The Lion King, so it's Mufasa and Simba, I'm pretty sure, on the surgery cap. So I do. I have my own surgery cap. They just were like, okay, we're going into surgery, and they automatically trusted me, and they knew like that I knew how to intubate, and that, and I think that was really, really nice. I just really didn't have to prove myself. They trusted me. But I think that also goes based off of how you present yourself when you walk in too and what you do. I think that your personality is going to have a lot to do with that, with how well they trust you and how confident you are, even just doing simple things.
No, that's perfect. I mean, you at least with me, you are 100% professional. You're kind, you're courteous, you're very lovely to work with. So I could see where that's going to shine and your work too with your practice and being a relief tech. I'm sure the doctors and the technicians see the same thing that I see, and that makes them want to keep working. Like you said, they are always offering you a job, so you know you're doing it right. And
Right.
I bet showing up prepared with your own scrub cap is like one of the things people don't think about that. I would
Yeah.
never thought about that. Like when you, I don't know if our whoever's listening to this, if you can see the visual, like my eyes lit up when she said she brought in her own cap because I would have never thought to do that. Like who thinks of stuff like that? So it takes years of, doing stuff and then you realize what works and what doesn't work and then you're prepared and then that's what you're supposed to be. You're an LBT. You're supposed to be a step ahead of the doctor and the staff. You were supposed to be on top of this.
Right. Right. And I mean for the most part at every clinic you there's it's pretty much all the same as far as, you know, what the gold standard of medicine is and what you should be doing and what you should know. So, as long as you're prepared for that, and as long as you're confident enough in your own skills to know that you can do it, then it should be fine. I know that I used to get nervous around new people placing catheters or like drawing blood if you're around a new person that you're not comfortable with and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I hope I can get this." I used to be that way. I'm not that way anymore just because I've done relief at enough clinics. Like I know what I can do and I don't get nervous, but I used to be that way all the time where I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, there's a new person watching me place a catheter. Hope I can do it." And I don't think that way anymore. But I think that we sometimes we just overthink and we let ourselves get into our heads with stuff like that sometimes. And we know how to do things, but we just need to be confident in them.
Yes. And I feel like, at least with me, every time I started a new clinic, it was the same thing. I would be like, oh my God, I gotta hit this jugular vein. What happens if I don't do it in front of this person? And to be able to walk in and just do that and then have people trust you right off the bat. And like Jen said, I mean, you walk in and you know what you're doing, and that's gonna show. So you know, just keep working at it and keep trying your best and show up with a beautiful scrub cap. I can't get over that one, Jen. Like just light bulb magical moment. For myself, I remember my first client ever, like it was yesterday. And looking back, there's certainly some things I did right. And there are some things that I did wrong that I wish I could go back in time and be like, Michelle, don't do this or do this. The How I got started, I mentioned it before, was not a plan. It was an accident. And somebody in my Facebook community groups was looking for somebody to trim their pet's nails. And I commented, and that person who was looking, I think I saw them like a week later, but some nice lady commented under. She's like, "Hey, Michelle, I'd be interested." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I remember I messaged her and I went out on a Tuesday, and I will never forget how I felt preparing for that because you're going into people's homes, all right? You hear the stories, there's murder, crime mysteries out there for a reason because it happens. And I remember I was so nervous. I didn't know any information. I didn't collect any information on this lady other than the fact that her name was Christine and she had two dogs. That's all I knew. I didn't get vet records. Nope, I didn't. I was just like, I'll show up. And Jen, you talked about your fanny pack that has everything and your Lion King scrub cap and how you were so prepared. Girl, I was not. Oh my God. I walked up into this house and all I had was a bag that I got free from a veterinary conference a few years ago. And I had the big orange clippers, Quick Stop, and a bag of treats from BarkBox. That's all I had on me. And I remember I was so nervous. I was in my car, but I had my best friend watching my location.
Hmm.
And I remember I texted her. I was like, I might be walking into the house of a serial killer. I don't know. Just keep an eye on me. And I was so shaky and so nervous. But one thing I did is I maintained transparency with that client. I told her, listen, I've been a vet tech for about 10 years now. However, I'm going to be honest with you, this is my first time doing this. I was like, we're going to learn this together. I know what I'm doing. I know how to hold an animal. I know how to trim their nails. I know how to do it all. But I've always had professionals with me on the other end of this pet. So if you don't mind, we're going to learn this together. And she stayed on my schedule for about a good 4 or 5 months, actually. And we learned together a lot. And I thank God every day that number one, that client was really nice. Number two, that I was transparent with her. And that was like the biggest thing is I didn't walk in there not saying, "Oh yeah, I'm confident, I'm good, I got this." I was, and I was successful. However, I was open, I was honest with her. Because if it's going to be your first client and you're fumbling around, you're trying to find your trimmers, you are unsure of how to restrain, it's going to show. And the clients are going to see that and they're going to pick up on that. And they may think, boy, this girl has no idea what she's doing. She's not a professional. She doesn't even know how to do this. So that's why you need to maintain transparency for at least 3 months. Be like, hey, I've been a vet tech for this long. I'm certified. I have this credential. I'm fear free, whatever. You tell them what you've done, but you let them know I'm new. I've only been doing this for about a month. I've been doing this for 2 months. You're my 10th client ever. Just keep doing that so that way they know and they give you that grace. They allow you to have that breathing room. And if you make a mistake, well, they know you're brand new. You're being honest with them. Yes, you're a professional. Yes, you've been in the field, but this is new to you. You're a brand new business. And I think that creates a bond with the clients of like, okay, yes, we like Michelle. We know she's brand new, but we're going to work with her and we're going to ride this out for a while. And I still to this day have, oh God, out of my first batch of clients, my first 20, I still have probably 4 or 5 of them. And the other half, the pets have passed away. So I've maintained it. I've maintained a lot of my clients. But looking back, I wish I would have got my LLC right off the bat to start preparing myself. That is, I think, one of the first things you should do. They're very affordable, they're easily obtainable. Because what if that first client was a Sue Happy client, like a Slip and Susan, right? You don't know what you're walking into. So just to be on the safe side, get an LLC to protect your personal assets from the business assets, and that's not legal advice. I would have gotten insurance right away. My insurance for my business is under $50 a month. I wish I would have done that right away, just in case I would have landed on one of those clients. Luckily for me, I didn't. And do not let getting your LLC and your insurance intimidate you. Both of them are very affordable. You're going to be spending for the both of them under $70 a month. So looking back, I wish I would have started that off much sooner than what I did. Some other cool stuff I learned along the way is now I bring, much like how Jen brings her cool scrub cap with her, I bring that my clients think, oh, Michelle, you're so prepared. I actually bring pre-soaked hydrogen peroxide cotton swabs with me
Oh, that's a good
yep,
idea.
in case I hit a quick, because within
Mm-hmm.
my first month, and I'm still with this client actually. I just saw her last week. Within my first month, I hit a quick really bad on this golden
Mm.
retriever, and
Oh.
blood went all over her white carpet. I was like, oh
Oh
shit.
no.
Yes, Debbie. Oh my God, I love her for her patience. I remember I was like, oh shit, I just ruined your carpet. And I was like, you got any
Oh.
hydrogen peroxide? We'll get this out. And we scrubbed down her carpeting together. After that is when I started bringing soaked hydrogen peroxide balls with me. So it's little things like that that you really don't think about,
Right.
that you're like, boy, I wish I would have done that in the future. And now I have hit the quick many times. It doesn't happen a lot because I do it so often.
Right.
But when it does happen, I'm like, no worries. I got cotton balls
You're
soaked with hydrogen
prepared.
peroxide. Yep, I'm absolutely prepared. I'm like, well, just dab this up while I let the quick stop do its job. So the dog's nail is clotting at the same time I am picking up the blood. And we move on to the next. I also, in the beginning, I didn't clean up after myself. I have a little vacuum that I suck up all the nail trimmings with.
Oh, nice.
Yep. However, I've gone through a couple of them. I'm trying to find a good one that will actually not break on me, because I don't think those little things are meant to suck up nail trimmings all the time. And I think it's
Oh.
breaking down my little vacuum. So when the clients do see me with my little vacuum, they're like, oh my God, that's great. Or my lint roller to pick up everything, to clean up the clothes afterwards. I use baby wipes in case the owners are giving cheese or peanut butter to the dog and their hands get all slimy. I have
Oh,
baby wipes
nice.
with me. Yeah, stuff like that. So there's little things that you can do to prepare, but you
Yeah.
learn these things as you go. Now it's been quite some time. I'll be coming up on 4 years here in September. And now looking back, I have an entire office on wheels in my car. I have these 2 towers that are set up with so much supplies. I have everything. I have licky mats. Who would have thought to bring in licky mats? If you have 2 dogs and one dog is in the background barking, they're in their crate because the other dog's getting treats and there's company over. Well, now I got
Right.
to keep the other dog occupied. So I get a licky mat for the other dog to sit there and lick its peanut butter or cheese on, to keep it distracted while I'm working with the other dog. And
Oh
then
my
we
gosh.
switch. Yeah. So it's like preparing yourself. You learn these things over time, but
Right.
hopefully over the course of this podcast, I can share these experiences of my first day on the job. Was yes, I still remember the nerve and the anxiety of like, what happens if this is like a serial killer and I get trapped up in their basement? Luckily, my friend is watching me and we got a code word. Okay. I got a
Mm-hmm.
code word, and me walking in with my heart pounding, and the owner was like, oh, okay. Yeah, let's do this. All right, cool. And yeah, it's just the first day of doing it. And then after that, I got a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more comfortable, more confident as I kept on going. And that's over time, it just became very, very natural. Now I can get a nail trim done in probably under 2 minutes. I don't know if that's something to brag about, but I can do all four legs by myself if the dog is cooperative in under 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it came with time, positioning, techniques. Every dog is different. Every
Yeah.
cat is different. Looking back, I wish I would also got fear-free certified in the very beginning. That is an absolute game changer. I'm not endorsed by them. That would be nice though, just saying. Because fear-free really helped me learn how to read the animal's body language.
Hmm.
It really helped me learn how to work with them. I also, one thing I didn't do in the beginning, I do now, is I keep notes on the pets. I know after I meet a pet, okay, this dog likes peanut butter. This dog likes to stand. This cat, do not touch its belly. It likes churu, but this cat likes churu on the licky mat. So put in notes
You're right.
as you're going. Put in notes, just like you would in a vet clinic, like how Jen would probably put in notes on what doctors prefer, what suture, what doctors
Yeah.
prefer, what types of materials. I put in my notes, Rover likes to stand up with cheese. Fido likes to lay down with belly rubs. I put those in my notes. That way next month I am prepared. And I
Right.
look at my notes as I'm in the driveway and I go, oh, yeah, I remember last month. Yeah, yeah. Fido really liked cheese. So let's get the cheese out. Yeah. So over time, you start to build the same thing over and over again. I know my route for tomorrow. Me and Jen just took a 5-minute break. I looked at my route for tomorrow and every pet on there I know, every owner on there I know. I know I got Sweetie, my little pit bull up in Clarkston. I'm going to enter that house with the peanut butter can ready. That's because I took notes on her the first time I met her, but now I just have it memorized. So take notes on your clients. Take notes on the pet's handling preferences. That's going to be huge. And the clients are going to see that every time you come in, you remember what their pet liked. You remember that their pet preferred something or didn't prefer something.
Right. And it probably makes it so that each time it's more efficient and faster.
Yes, exactly. I always tell my clients too, my first appointment is kind of a discovery period. I'm going to
Right.
try this. I'm going to try that. We're going to look at this, look at that, and we go from there. One of the first things I do when I walk into a home is once the animals calm down, it's comfortable with me. Once I'm calmed down and comfortable, I go find a spot in the living room. Sometimes I'm on the floor, sometimes on the couch, and I just start giving treats. Always, by the way, clear food allergies. Make sure owners do not have a peanut butter allergy.
Yeah,
Always ask that
that
question. I
makes
did not do
sense.
that. Yep, I did not do that in the beginning, but now I do. I'm like, first question, is there any food allergies for anybody? But I walk in, I start deducing what the pet likes best for treats. And then I talk to the owner at the same time. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, your dog likes liver more than cheese. So we're going to give liver squeeze today. And as I'm working with the dog, I have a lot of owners who are like, oh, just sit, sit, sit. They constantly tell their dog to sit. And I'm like, your dog does not have to sit. If your dog wants to stand, I'm okay with your dog standing. I can do
Yeah,
this
just
with your
let them
job.
do what's going to be most comfortable for them.
Yes, yes. And that's why I tell my owners, let's just let the dog be comfortable. If the dog wants to roll over and show me its belly, I don't care. I can get the
Right.
job done in any position. And you will be in some funky positions when you do it too. I mean, there's been some times where I've had my face in a certain area of an owner where I didn't want my face, but I'm just going to get this job done.
Right.
But yes, keep notes on them from day one. That way you're more prepared for the next visit.
Nice. Yeah,
Yes,
all of that makes a lot of sense.
yes. Um, Another thing I would recommend vet techs to do is get business cards right off the bat. Yes, get business cards. I know it sounds old school, but in the very beginning, I had a lot of clients be like, "Oh, what's your business card?" I'm like,
Hmm.
here's my cell phone number. So I don't have a business card yet, but here's my cell phone number." And that's why a lot of
Right.
like my old school clients still have my cell phone number to this day, actually. So get business cards. It does
They
look more
also
professional.
have digital business cards. There are ways that I literally have a free digital business card, and it's like my own like little digital profile, and they can just scan the QR code, and then you're automatically a contact on their phone with like all of your information and like your business card picture and everything. So there's definitely ways to do it. If you guys don't want to do like physical business cards, you can do digital business cards. And I can probably put that link in the show notes.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm gonna be one of the first people copying that link and trying to do that, Jen. I swear you're always bringing me into the new era of stuff sometimes.
Yeah, because I
So
mean, sometimes people will take your business card and then they lose it, or they accidentally throw it away, or they just like throw it in their car, and then they never find it again. But especially with the younger generation, the digital business card's really nice because they literally can just, it's just a contact automatically added into your phone.
I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be probably the first thing I do when I get off the phone with you is go get that. Yes. Um,
Yeah, I'll share that in the links on the show notes for this one. Because it is the one that I use is free.
oh,
You don't have to pay
nice.
for it.
Free is always good, especially when you're starting out
Nope.
your business. Yeah, any money you could
Exactly.
save. Yeah, any money you could save. Um,
Exactly.
what else? Uh, One of the other things that I'm going to tell vet techs to do is if it's your first week, your first 2 weeks, and you discover that you like these clients and you're like, boy, I really like their dog and the lady was really nice, pre-book them for the next month. If you like them and you feel like it's going to be a good fit for a while, pre-book, pre-book, pre-book. That is probably the best advice I can give to you because that's how you start building up your clientele. Is, well, Mrs. Smith, I really enjoyed working with you and Fluffy today. Do Wednesdays normally work good for you? Because they work for me, and that's my day off from the clinic. So I could see you maybe 4 weeks from now or 8 weeks from now. They say yes, you put them down, and you start building out your route from there. I didn't do that in the beginning. It took me about 4 months to start pre-booking out, maybe 3 months to really start to say, gee, I like this lady. I don't want to have to tell her no in the future as I start getting busy. So I'm just going to put her back on my schedule right now. And it works really well. If you don't think it's going to work out between you and a client for any reason, I just hand them my card and I just tell them, okay, be in contact with me next time you need something. That's how I personally handle those situations. In the beginning, I wish I would have done that a lot more. I feel like I could have shaped up my business a little bit differently for the first year if I would have done that for sure.
That's nice. That makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah. My whole thing is shaping my clientele. I pick my clients. A lot of people think that being a small business, I am going to take every client, and that's simply not true. I pick the clients who I feel is going to work with me. And I've been doing this for so long now to where after my first 15 minutes of meeting a client, I can tell if they're not the client for me or not, which is either a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, that's got to be a little nerve-wracking sometimes where you're like, I don't know how this experience is gonna go, but I have to see it through no matter what.
yeah.
And then I get to decide whether I want to continue this relationship or not, but you still have to like see it through the first time. So I can see how that going into the unknown might be a little bit scary for that.
Yeah, it is. There's going to be times where you talk to your client for the first time and you're going to know right away. I had an incident maybe 2 months ago, and this lady goes down as the second most difficult client of all time. I knew even before the appointment started that I wasn't going to see her again, but I had to get through that appointment. I knew from what she was telling me, I was not going to be able to touch her cat. That cat was a 5 out of 5 FAS. I looked at that cat, and that cat hissed at me. And I was not going to be able to trim that cat's toenails without this
Oh
cat being
gosh.
on GABA something. And it was this, I think she was like 80, 85-year-old lady. And she was really upset that I told her, I can't touch your cat. I'm not doing this today. And I didn't even charge her. Like, I was like, nope, I
I
was
mean,
in and
that's
out.
fair.
Yeah, I didn't charge her. I'm like, that's not worth the fight. But
Right.
I knew before I even walked in the door that it wasn't going to happen. So sometimes it's not going to happen, but you got to be fair. Like, I was there for 8 minutes, explained to her why I was not willing to have her hold on to her cat. And then I was out the door and I counted as a loss and I moved on to the next. So, yeah,
Well, and I think that that's something that we should address too, right? That's really important, that your safety is still really important. So don't endanger yourself just to make a client happy. I mean, we do that in vet med all the time, right? Like you see that in the clinics all the time, where we would be forced to do something because the owner would be unhappy, but
yep,
the patient's dangerous. We could get hurt. The patient could get hurt
yep,
because of how scared they are or, aggressive they are. Um, so don't don't do that when you own your own business. Don't put
yes,
yourself in danger just to make a client happy. I mean, obviously be respectful to the
yes.
owner and communicate to them why it's not a good idea to do it, but don't do it just because you're afraid you're going to get a bad review.
Exactly. Yeah. And when it comes to doing it just for the sake of getting it done, safety is priority number one, but that's why I comped her visit. I walked in, I
Right.
took one look at that cat, and this elderly lady, she wanted to hold this cat. And I'm like, if this cat scratches you or bites you, like you're done. Her skin
Yeah,
was
no way.
frail, thin, and I could tell it was not going to happen. So I did not want a bad review. I knew that wasn't going to happen. So I was like, it's okay. There's no charge for today. We're done here. Your cat needs to go get sedated, essentially. This cat needs a ride on the GABA train. Choo choo, all
Yeah.
aboard, motherfuckers. Like, I'm not
Right.
touching this cat right now.
Yeah.
And it was an upsetting moment. She was upset, but like I said, I didn't charge her. I counted as a loss and I walked out the door. So I feel like almost every day is the first day on the job when you have a new client and you don't know how it's going to go. And
Right.
you're going to get the feels after a while, like, oh, I really like this lady. I hope she sticks with me. She's awesome. Or, oh, this guy, he's kind of giving me the creeps, which just happened actually a couple times with me. Luckily, the one time it did happen, it was fine, but I never saw them again.
Yeah.
And he was openly telling me how he beat on his last girlfriend. And I was like, oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
no.
Hmm.
Ugh.
So, yeah, that's safety is a huge thing. But yeah, so you never know what you're going to get. 8 times out of 10, it's going to be an amazing person you're going to want to see again. But there's going to be a couple times where you have to you have to go with your gut. And you have to know, like, this is not going to be the situation for me, or this is going to be the situation for me. And if you do, pre-book. So that's looking back. That's what I wish I would have done in the beginning. Is I wish I would have got my LLC sooner. I wish I would have gotten insurance sooner. I wish I would have pre-booked my clients if I liked them. And I wish I would have had business cards or the digital business cards, like Jen had recommended. I wish I would have done all those in the beginning to set myself up for success. But I have learned. I've learned in the past 4 years. Now I'm in and out. I'm very efficient. I'm confident.
Mhm.
I have close calls. I had a close call with a dog that I've known on the 4th of July. He snapped at me. But also, it's my fault. He's fear-induced noise.
Yeah.
And he was already stressed out because it was Thursday. It was like one of my last
Yeah.
appointments of the week. It was Thursday, and the fireworks been going off all week.
Hmm.
And he actually jumped at me, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I took a step back. So you still got to be on guard too.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that can be scary.
yeah, it was scary, but again, that's why I say you have to be in the industry for a while. You have to read body
Right. You have
language.
to be able to read. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
People, they don't know dog language or even just how they move or their eyes or their ears. And I think that's something that we all can do in the vet field, especially if you've worked in it long enough. You can read dog body language and they can walk into the exam room and you automatically know this dog's going to be really compliant or this dog it could bite me.
Yeah.
And then the owner sits there and tells you, "Oh no, he won't bite you." And you're like, "No,
Mm,
he's telling me something completely different." And
mm.
yeah, they're not going to bite you. You're the owner, but I'm a stranger that's touching them in ways that they're not used to being touched. So you have to realize that. And then when you have to go and walk into their home, which is their territory, I couldn't even imagine. I know that I couldn't do that. I cannot do mobile in-home services. I could not. I couldn't even stand going in and when I used to work in GP and we would do at-home euthanasias, I hated doing at-home euthanasias. I absolutely like I yeah, I couldn't stand it. I don't like walking into people's homes that I don't know and then their animals are like I don't know. I just don't like it. But I mean, we're all good at different things, right? So I mean, that's great that you're able to do that. Um, but it's scary to me. I mean, and then even in general practice, like I work in emergency, like walking into an exam room and having to restrain a pet that's not doing well in front of an owner, which is why I think Fear Free is really good, and it teaches you how to deal with those animals in front of the owner, right? Because
Mhm.
you don't want to be too aggressive in your restraint in front of the owner, because then the owner's wondering, well, why, what are you doing? But you also don't want to get bit. So,
Yeah, and when I'm restraining or if I have a disagreement with the owner about what is going on with the pet, I default back to my training, and which is why I tell other vet techs too, default back to your training. You need to remind the owner, well, I am a licensed veterinary technician. I've been doing this for 10 years. I know you don't think Rover's gonna bite me, However, Rover's putting his ears down. Do you see how his ears are down? Do you see how he's staring at me? How his back is hunched over? I was like, all those things are signs that he's not liking what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And with my fear-free certification, that tells me what I need to know. So it's also, you got to remind the owners of your training, of your skill set, and why. A lot of owners, oh, my dog's tired, it's yawning. I'm like, no, your dog is stressed, it's yawning.
No, yeah.
It's, yeah. So you got to remind owners that you're qualified to do this job, that you did go to school, that you are a licensed technician when it does come time to handle a disagreement over why you will or will not continue on with the procedure. For me, it's usually I'm not going to continue on because your cat looked at me and hissed at me and I touch it and it swats at me.
Yeah.
I'm not touching Fluffy.
And that's why communication is also really, really important. I feel like owning your own business, no matter what you do, you have to be really good at communication and explaining things well. You can't just sit there and say, oh, well, this is just how it is, and expect that your client is going to be happy with you at the end of the day. You have to communicate and you have to know what you're talking about, and you have to be able to explain it in a way that they understand it so that they can be satisfied with what they're hearing, and they can also understand it themselves too, and so they're learning something out of it as well. So communication is so important.
Yes, it is. It's very important throughout the entire appointment and before the appointment as well. Always confirm your appointments the day before. Let them know when you're coming. That's you have to do that. For example, earlier in the episode when I mentioned I was having dental problems and I was in the dentist, I was texting my clients while I was in the dental chair, like, "Hey, I'm going to be behind today. I'm at my dentist." You have to communicate, and I don't think me or Jen can stress that enough. When you're doing shifts, Jen, what do you do? I mean, if you are running behind, you call them, you let them know, like, hey, I'm
Oh
stuck in
yeah.
traffic. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I over communicate even when I'm booking specific shifts and I'm talking about specific things of, you know, what is the exact shift going to be? I need the address of where I'm going to be staying, and I want it all in advance. I want it all pretty much right away so that I can plan accordingly and that I can be prepared for whatever's going to come, because I always think worst case scenario in general. So I'm like, I want to be fully prepared and mentally prepared for everything so that I can just make sure that I'm there on time. And also I like to know, okay, where's the hotel I'm staying at? How far away is the hotel that I'm staying at from the clinic? So that I know when I need to be up by and how much time that I need to get ready so that I can be there on time. And I usually like to be at the clinic, especially on my first day, at least 10 to 15 minutes before I'm actually supposed to be scheduled, is what I try to do so that I'm fully prepared. I'm introducing myself to the people that I need to introduce myself to. Everyone knows who I am, and that if there's something that they need, if there's any extra time that they need to get me set up, like in the computer system or something, like I'm giving them time to do that. But
Oh,
yeah.
smart.
So one of the things too, when you were talking about what you would change, I did actually come up with something in mind when I first started. And I think I mentioned this in one of the previous podcasts, but when I first started, I said yes to pretty much every job because I was afraid that I wasn't going to have jobs. So I just said yes to everything. One of my very first shifts that I worked were a clinic that I had never worked at before. They wanted me to work overnights, and I agreed to it. And I hadn't worked overnights in years. I usually do swing shifts, and I think at that point in time I was bouncing from swing shift to day shift at one of the clinics that I was doing. I would not do that again. I would not have volunteered for those overnight shifts because I did the overnight shifts. I was tired. I was exhausted because my circadian rhythm was not used to working overnight shifts. So I got really, really sick. And I remember telling the girls, like, man, I just don't feel well. I feel like I'm getting sick. And they said, do you normally work overnights? And he said, no, I haven't worked overnights in years. And they said, oh, yeah. The first time I ever worked overnights, I got really, really sick the first week. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Oh,
crap. And then even now, I still get asked if I'm available to do overnights, and I won't because first of all, I know that they're not healthy, and I make my own schedule. I don't want to work overnight shifts. They are the shifts that I get asked to do the most. And if you are willing to do overnight shifts, you probably are going to get way more jobs doing that, but I just don't want to. I don't want to do overnight shifts. I know what I do well at, and I do my best on swing shifts, and I give Like I have my best energy on swing shifts, so why wouldn't I just work swing shifts when I know that I'm going to do my absolute best on those shifts? So
Yeah.
that's something that I would change. If I'm going to offer to do shifts, I'm going to offer to do shifts that I work regularly.
Okay. And you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses.
Right.
You know what you're good at, you know what you're not. So yeah, it's one of those things of I'm personally a mid-morning person, but I don't like working anything past 4 o'clock. I usually like to be home by 4:30. And in the
Hmm.
beginning, I did the same thing. I would take on clients who are like, well, I don't get home till 7. And I was like, okay, no problem. I'll be there at, 7:15. So as we're closing out this episode, one of the things that me and Jen wanted to do was to start highlighting people who leave us reviews. We can't thank you guys enough. Over the past 2 weeks, both Jen and myself have gotten numerous messages from listeners, from people that we know, saying that they enjoyed the first couple episodes, and we hope to continue that. So if you can leave a review, we're going to be reading these reviews on the show, and we love it. We want to interact with you guys. We want to know what we can improve on or what you think is best. And we got our very first Facebook review. Woohoo! Exciting. We got our first review from Jessie. She said that she just finished listening to the first 2 episodes. It was a fantastic listen, with credentialed technicians leaving vet med by the droves for so many reasons. I really feel like this will inspire those that feel the need to leave, to stay in vet med in maybe a little bit different capacity. I love the positivity and I can't wait to hear more. So that was our very first review.
Yeah, that was really nice to hear.
Yes, yes. And earlier today, I actually got a message from another vet tech, and she sent this to me, and I sent it to Jen. Jen was like, we should definitely put that one on the show. As I
Hmm.
got an inbox from another tech, and she said, thank you so much. I love the pod so far. Definitely feel heard and seen on so many levels in just the first 2 episodes, and can't wait to hear more as I'm starting my house call business. Thank you for what you're doing for the field and for the LVT, CVT, RVT title. Uh,
I mean, I think that's it, right? Like that's everything that we're trying to do. And like it's all in one little message there, which I think really validates us and helps us to know that, okay, we're doing something right, right?
Yep, yep. We're doing something right. We're inspiring technicians. We're protecting the title. And hopefully, we're showing new ways of what to do and using your title to your advantage, using those credentials to your advantage, whether it's the relief work, mobile work, it's your title. You earned it and you should be proud of it. And you don't
Hmm.
have to stay in a clinic. So it's my turn to do the dedication. As we mentioned before, and as you heard in the previous episodes, Jen shared her dedication. Our first guest, Jacqueline, shared a dedication. And now it's my turn to share my dedication. And the person I want to thank the most is going to be my best friend. I, for the first couple of years, felt bad at what I was doing. I was very private. I felt like I was just doing grooming services. I wasn't working at the top of my license. I felt pretty low, in all honesty, and I didn't want to be known. I wanted to stay hidden, if that makes sense, because I still had some shame around losing my job. And I got to the point where it was at the end of summer after a year of doing this. And I told my best friend, like, I think I want to create a group for other vet techs to help each other do this. But I was like, but then people are going to know what I'm doing. And that's just kind of embarrassing. And I remember I was sitting on a couch of my client's house watching their dog, this little dog by name of Star. I was sitting in their house and she was like, do it. She was like, just do it. And she actually typed up the AI intro for the group of like, this is for inspiring mobile vet techs, for inspiring relief technicians. And she typed up the intro and she made the logo. And she was like, just stop being afraid. She was like, if you want to help people, just go help it. Get your ass out there. There's no shame in what you're doing. You're running your own business. You're successful at it. Like, just do it. So I remember I was like, I looked over at the dog I was dog sitting this dog, Star, and I looked over at her and I was like, all right, Star, we're going to create this group right here, me and you, girl. And I did. I created the unattached vet tech group because she pushed me to do it. And she saw that, Michelle, I think what you're doing is unique. I don't think anybody else is doing it. I think that you
Hmm.
should do this and you should help out other techs. You love what you do. You love the industry. So create that group. Don't be shy. Like, don't think so negatively about yourself and just freaking do it. And so for her, I think that because of her pushing me, I started the group, I started the association, and then I met Jen. And now me and Jen are working together to try to show other vet techs what to do. So at the
Mhm.
end of the day, like a lot of this is because I had my best friend Ada believing in me and believing in the mission. And also, it's one big circle. So if I had to dedicate my first episode to anybody, it's going to be Ada for sure.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Ada.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ada, for bringing Michelle to us.
Yes.
We all appreciate Michelle so much and appreciate what she's done. So I'm
Yes.
glad that somebody convinced her. But
There was no, thank you. There's no convincing myself that, like I
pushed.
said, yeah, pretty much she pushed me. She was like, no, you're doing it. Typed up everything, had the logo. She was like, you're doing it. I'm like, oh God, I'm doing it. I'm going public. I was like, oh shit, what are people gonna think? And it was that whole like not working at top of my license. So thank you, Ada, for being my ride or die, my home dog.
That's so nice. That's
Yes,
great. That's so
yes,
great. It's so nice to
yes,
have people like that in your corner. And people like that are the reason why we are where we're at. We obviously make that big of a difference, but those people around us who support us and who push us to do those really crazy things are, I mean, it's a really good butterfly effect for sure.
it is. Yes, and I mean, Jen, you've had people in your corner,
Hmm.
and now we're on what episode 3.
Yep.
And to hear that we're getting reviews, people are messaging you. I think you had a message, right? That,
Yeah, yeah. I've
yeah,
had a couple messages of just people that and like that one review said that they actually feel seen and they feel heard and that we're all experiencing the same things, but we're just talking about it.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing is, I think we're just talking about it. We're the first ones to openly talk about leaving the industry, I think, and starting our own business. I think
Well,
we're the
leaving
first
it full
ones.
time at least. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Try it from a
Not
side
doing
hustle
the
full time.
typical, right? We're not doing the typical. So,
Yeah. And I think that is so cool that me and you are working on this together and hearing the reviews, hearing people cheering you on, hearing, the people that are sending us messages. I'm so glad to see it. I just continue on. Let us know how we're doing because I think that's what's going to keep me and Jen going is hearing from you guys that this is helping you
yeah.
guys. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear, that we're actually, making bringing value to you guys and those private messages are great. We love them. But if you could also even just add those on to the reviews for the actual podcast itself, because when you guys write those reviews, the algorithm helps to show up for other technicians who are, looking just to listen to regular podcasts. So if you guys are loving this and you guys are loving us and you guys are getting a lot of value, we do want those private messages. We want to hear from you guys. But also, if you could just add that on to the rating and the reviews on the actual podcast platforms that you're listening, we'd really appreciate that as well.
Yes. And right now we are on Spotify.
Apple Podcasts. I just recently saw, so we're on Amazon Music
Oh,
and Audio, and we're also on iHeartRadio,
oh,
and we're on YouTube,
we're on them
and
all.
and I think that's it. Yeah, yeah, I think that's it.
Yes. So, yes, please leave us a review on your listening device of choice. Yes.
I gave you lots of options. I worked really hard for that.
Yes. And thank Jen. She's been busting ass behind the scenes. Throughout the week when she checks in or I check in and she's doing all the editing herself, I give her so much credit for that. I'm doing a little bit of paperwork in the background, but she's really kicking ass. So, Jen, thank you for doing the editing part because God knows I would have messed it up so many times. I'm so glad you're really good with technology to do the editing part. So, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. So yeah, if you are really enjoying this podcast too, just be sure to follow us on all of our other platforms. So we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Michelle has a TikTok account for this podcast. And basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be posting updates. So, we're going to be posting interviews. So, whoever we're going to be interviewing in the future, and then sneak peek for just future episodes, future titles, and things like that. And then, obviously, if we can get conversations started and hear from you guys and what you want to hear more of, then we'd love to hear that from you as well.
Yes. So, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We always have a really good time on these podcasts, and they're always so long, but we always have so much to talk about, and we always just have a really good time talking. So I really hope that you guys enjoy listening to us, and I really hope you guys got something valuable from our podcast today.
Yes, yes. And if you have any questions too, you can always send us a message through the email as well if you have a question for myself or for Jen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. All right, you guys, we will talk to you later.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Endless Journeys, the VetTech Odyssey podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found some valuable insights. If you did, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave us a review and let us know what you think. You can also connect with us on all social media platforms at Endless Journeys, the VetTech Odyssey podcast. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a positive impact in the veterinary world. We need you guys. Have a great day.